Dr. Paulinus Chigbu is the director of the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center, called LMRCSC. LMRCSC is one of 4 Cooperative Science Center awards that the NOAA Office of Education, Educational Partnership Program with Minority Serving Institutions, support. The CSCs include 24 higher education institutions conducting NOAA mission-aligned STEM, natural resource management and policy, education, and scientific research. The centers are recruiting, mentoring, and graduating students to be candidates who will engage in future NOAA mission careers and represent the demographics of the nation. The scientific research at the centers contribute to expanding the application of NOAA science, products, and services, particularly to communities underrepresented in NOAA mission fields. Dr. Paulinus Chigbu is a University System of Maryland William H. Elkins Professor of Marine and Environmental Sciences and serves as the Associate Dean for Research, Development, and Graduate Education at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Over the past 25 years, he has led major research and educational programs funded by NOAA and NSF, including the NSF Research Experience for Undergraduates. We call it the REUs. UMES is an REU site. In today's presentation, Dr. Chigbu will share a historical perspective and impacts of African Americans in aquatic sciences, the contributions of the NOAA EPP-MSI Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center at UMES to that diverse aquatic sciences workforce that is emerging. Dr. Chigbu's research interests are broad, including fish and zooplankton ecology and crustacean biology in marine and freshwater systems. He received his PhD from the University of Washington School of Fisheries. Dr. Chigbu is dedicated to his family and believes in a future, hence his many roles in academia and serving as members of boards and commissions. Thank you, Dr. Chigbu.
Thank you, Dr. Trotman, for the kind introduction and for the opportunity to give today's webinar on the impacts of African Americans in aquatic sciences and the contributions of the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center to a diverse scientific workforce. African Americans are underrepresented in aquatic sciences, though their number has increased since the 1960s. So in today's presentation, I'll give highlights of the accomplishments of African Americans in aquatic sciences, and also highlights of initiatives, programs, and institutions that have made major contributions to the training of African Americans in aquatic sciences. But this will be with an emphasis on individuals that received doctoral degrees. Much of the information I'm going to present comes from personal experience over the past 30 years as a graduate student and faculty attending professional meetings, as director of the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center, which is one of the 4 EPP-MSI Cooperative Science Centers. And it also comes from my participation in several student mentoring programs. Some of the information was obtained from websites and also from colleagues in the field. The first African-American marine biologist is Ernest Everett Just, who received his PhD in 1916 from the University of Chicago. and he conducted research at the Marine Biology Lab in Woods Hole, Massachusetts, where he worked on sea urchins fertilization and development. And he made major contributions to the knowledge of embryology, particularly the role of cell surface in the development of organisms. And almost 20 years after Ernest Just, we have the first African American woman to earn a PhD in zoology. Her name is Roger Elena Young. She obtained her doctoral degree in 1940 from the University of Pennsylvania and worked on protists, particularly the excretory apparatus in paramecium. In early 1970s, we have Joseph Sylvester, who received his doctoral degree from the University of Washington School of Fisheries. He worked for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and then as a biologist in the Office of Pesticides Program at the Environmental Protection Agency. In late 1980s to 1990s, I was a graduate student at the University of Washington, and I had several opportunities to participate in professional meetings. And during those meetings, I met a few African Americans with expertise in aquatic science. One of the individuals I met is Ambrose Gerald. He's a fish biologist. I met him at the Association for the Sciences of Limnology and Oceanography meeting that was held in Williamsburg, Virginia. Then it used to be called American Society of Limnology and Oceanography. His area of research is on fish behavior, age and growth of fish, and he spent much of his career working at NOAA Northeast Fisheries Science Center as a chief of the research planning and coordination, and then subsequently as director of academic programs. He served as first chair of the Woods Hole Diversity Advisory Committee and a co-founder of the Woods Hole Partnership Education Program. Another person I met during that period is Percy Washington, who received his doctoral degree from the University of Washington in 1977. Then he formed the Gaia Northwest Incorporated, a Seattle-based consulting business specializing in aquatic ecology and civil engineering. He was also an instructor at Western Washington University and worked at NOAA. I also met Daniel Pauly, who is now a professor at the University of British Columbia, and who is internationally known in fisheries. And in 2020 was reported to be the most cited fisheries scientist in the world. Another notable person working for NOAA is Wanda Ken, a fisheries biologist who obtained her master's from the Ohio State University in fish biology, and then subsequently a Doctor of Law degree from Purdue University. She's Chief of Staff, Office of Protected Species, Endangered Species Division at NIMS. Much later in my career, I met Henry Williams, who is an environmental microbiologist and a professor at Florida A&M University. He graduated from University of Maryland, Baltimore in microbiology and has spent much of his time working in the area of microbial ecology and is a leader in research on predatory bacteria, Vibrio and like organisms. And he's a fellow of the American Association of Microbiology and AAAS. Also met Steve Hughes, who is perhaps the only African-American trained in finfish aquaculture. He graduated from Cornell University in 1982 and is now a professor at Cheney University in Pennsylvania, where he serves as director of Cheney Aquaculture Research and Education Lab. And prior to working at Cheney, he was at one time a professor at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Joan Morrell Owens was also a geologist with interest in marine biology. She received her doctorate degree from George Washington University in 1984, was formerly professor at Howard University, and she discovered a new genus of deep sea corals while working at the Smithsonian. Mamie Parker is a limnologist and a conservation biologist who finished from the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, and for her doctoral degree worked on fish disease and pollution in Great Lakes. She's the first Black woman to serve as Assistant Director of Fisheries and Habitat Conservation, and also the first African American to lead a U.S. Fish and Wildlife Regional Office. In 2016, she was awarded the Emily Moore Prize for her role in helping to improve demographics diversity in the American Fisheries Society. Another person I've met who is a marine geologist with specialization in micropaleontology is Lisa White. She finished from the University of California, Santa Cruz, and is currently Assistant Director, Education and Outreach at the University of California Museum of Paleontology. She was also formerly a professor of geosciences and Associate Dean of the College of Science and Engineering at San Francisco State University. She is a fellow of the Geological Society of America and is chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee of the American Geophysical Union. I've also met Cecil Jennings, who's a fishery biologist. He worked as unit leader and research fishery biologist at the U.S. Geological Survey and was elected Vice President of the American Fisheries Society in 2020. He served as an adjunct professor at the University of Georgia. Another marine geologist that I've met is Frank Hall, who finished from University of Rhode Island in 1991 and currently serves as special assistant to the provost at Southern Utah University. Another marine geologist, notable marine geologist, is Dawn Wright. She finished from University of California, Santa Barbara in physical geography and marine geology. And she is chief scientist at Esri and is a leading authority in the application of GIS to ocean and coastal science. Is also a professor of geography and oceanography at Oregon State University. She's the first and only Black person to dive to Challenger Deep, which is the deepest point on Earth. I've also met Sheila Stiles. She, as far as I know, is the only African-American shellfish geneticist. She now works at NOAA Northeast Fisheries Science Center in Milford Lab. She received her doctorate from University of Massachusetts at Amherst. Also, Maurice Crawford, he was a colleague here at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, where he served as associate professor before he retired. He received his doctorate from North Carolina State University in zoology in 1996, and his research focused on finfish and estuarine ecology. Prior to 1989, there weren't formal mentoring programs to encourage underrepresented minorities to pursue careers in aquatic sciences. And so in 1989, Dr. Ben Suka, a professor at Hampton University, established ASLOM, which was called ASLO Minority Program then. It has since changed to ASLO Multicultural Program. That program is still in existence, and it provides opportunities to undergraduates and graduate students from underrepresented groups to attend the Association for the Sciences of Limnology and Oceanography meetings. The students participate in field trips, in workshops on career and skills development, and they are guided by meeting mentors. And many participants present their research work in a special symposium at the conference. And several students who participated in the ASLO Minority Program have earned their master's and doctoral degrees. Some of those individuals are shown on this slide, including Dion Hoskins Brown, who is a fisheries biologist at the NOAA Southeast Fisheries Science Center. She's also an associate professor at Savannah State University. Most importantly, she serves as the program director of the NOAA EPP MSI Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center at Savannah State University. Dion received her doctoral degree in 1999 from the University of South Carolina. She received Emily Moore Prize from the American Fisheries Society in 2015. Another person who participated in Ben Suka's ASLO Minority Program is Ashanti Johnson. She graduated from Texas A&M University in 1999 in the Chemical Oceanography program, and her research was in the area of aquatic radiochemistry. Ashanti Johnson, following graduation, established a number of mentoring programs, including the MS PhD program, and in 2010 was awarded the Presidential Award for Excellence in Science, Mathematics, and Engineering Mentoring for the programs that she initiated. Dida Gripson is another person who participated in Ben Suka's ASLO program. She received her doctoral degree from University of Georgia in biological oceanography. So she's a zooplankton ecologist. She's an associate professor and chair of the Department of Marine and Environmental Science, and also serves as program director of the NOAA EPP MSI Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Centers. And so the students who participated in the ASLO Minority Program have been heavily involved in mentoring students, and some of them have also initiated their own mentoring programs. There were also initiatives at NOAA and activities by key NOAA staff committed to diversifying NOAA's workforce that contributed to the establishment of programs that have had positive impacts on the education and training of underrepresented minorities in aquatic sciences. And these include the Expanding Opportunities Conference in Ocean Sciences that Ambrose Gerald used to organize when he worked at the Northeast Fisheries Science Center. These conferences were supported by NOAA. And the first conference was held at Hampton University in 1995. The second one was at University of Maryland Eastern Shore in 1999. And the last one was at Jackson State University in 2001. And in 1998, a joint project agreement was signed by Department of Commerce, NOAA, and HBCU consortium, 9-member HBCU consortium. And one of the goals was to increase the capacity of the HBCU consortium members to educate and train US students in the oceanic, atmospheric, and environmental sciences. And so after a national competition, 4 NOAA EPP MSI Cooperative Science Centers were established in 2001. The Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center, NOAA Center for Atmospheric Science, that is at Howard University, the Center for Environmental Science at Florida A&M University, and the Remote Sensing Center at the City College of the City University of New York. So at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, we have the NOAA Living Marine Resources Center with partner institutions that include Delaware State University, Savannah State University, Hampton University. And we also have 3 predominantly white institutions: University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, University of Miami, and Oregon State University. And some of the faces you see here, Dion Hoskins and Deirdre Gibson participated in Ben Suka's ASLOM program, and now they are playing major role at the Living Marine Resources Center. And besides that, 3 of these program managers graduated from the University of Washington. Deirdre Gibson from the School of Oceanography, Jessica Miller with a master's from University of Washington Fisheries, and Beth Babcock with her doctorate degree from University of Washington Fisheries. This center has had significant impact with regard to recruiting and training underrepresented minorities in marine and fisheries science. In 2001, when these centers were established, we had individuals that received PhDs in marine science in the US, and specifically African Americans. And these include Kimani Kimbrough, who is a biogeochemist. He finished his degree from Virginia Institute of Marine Science and currently works as an environmental chemist at NOAA NCOS. Kimani was also a participant in the ASLO minority program. We have Kelton Clark, who also received his degree in 2001 from the University of Maryland College Park. Kelton Clark is a shellfish ecologist and was the former director of the Morgan State University Patuxent Environmental and Aquatic Research Lab. We have Anthony Overton is one of the first cohorts of students supported by the NOAA EPP MSI program at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, the Living Marine Resources Center. Anthony completed his degree in 2002 in marine estuarine and environmental science with concentration in fish ecology. And he is currently a professor and chair at the Department of Biological and Environmental Sciences at Samford University in Alabama. Stacy Nelson is a geoscientist. He finished from Michigan State University in 2002 and is now a professor and interim dean for diversity and inclusion at North Carolina State University. As I continue with my presentation and show you slides, we begin to see more students who graduated from the Living Marine Resources Center and from the other cooperative science centers, especially Center for Coastal and Marine Ecosystems. In 2003, Brandon Jones is one of the individuals, African Americans that I know, who and a PhD from the University of Delaware. He is currently Director of Education and Diversity Programs in the National Science Foundation Geosciences Directorate. He's also President-elect of the American Geophysical Union. Brandon participated in the ASLO Minority Program. Crystal Johnson is an environmental microbiologist. I met her several years ago. She finished her doctoral degree from University of Alabama in Birmingham in 2004, and much of her research has concentrated on understanding environmental factors influencing Vibrio in marine environments, particularly in seawater and in shellfish, in oysters. She's now an associate professor at Louisiana State University. Lettice Lafayette, I also met her a few years ago, is another person that received her doctoral degree from the University of Delaware in 2005. She's currently Chief Conservation and Stewardship Officer at the New England Aquarium. But prior to that, she was a Senior Advisor at NOAA. Lettice also participated in the ASLOM program. Jamal Moss finished from the University of Washington. He's among the few African Americans who've received their doctoral degrees from the University of Washington, Fisheries. Jamal is NOAA Deputy Regional Administrator in Alaska. Trika Gerald and Dwight Ebanks, both NOAA APP MSI graduates. Trika graduated from Florida A&M University in 2007 and works as Chief of Staff to Science and Research Director at the NOAA Southeast Fisheries Science Center. And Dwight Ebanks finished from the University of Miami and is an instructor at Savannah State University. And Larry Alade, April Crostin, Sue Ebanks, and Casey Stodivan all are NOAA EPP MSI graduates. Larry received his doctoral degree in 2008 from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and is now Acting Chief Population Dynamics at the Northeast Fisheries Science Center. April Crostin is an aquatic toxicologist. She completed her degree from Florida A&M University, and she works as an analyst for NOAA Policy Planning and Evaluation Office, and she's also the current president of the American Fisheries Society. Sue Ebanks finished from University of Miami. She's a professor at Savannah State University. She has worked on ecophysiology of freshwater permanent snails and has expanded her research interest to include the impacts of microplastics in marine food webs. Casey Stodivan finished from Virginia Institute of Marine Science, but he received his bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and was supported by the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center. He currently works as principal scientist at Inspire Environmental, a company that he established. Anthony Orr, I think, is the only African-American marine mammal biologist with a PhD that I know of. And he received his doctoral degree from the University of Washington Fisheries. He currently works as a research biologist at the NOAA Fisheries Alaska Fisheries Science Center. Melanie Harrison Okoro, Lonnie Gonzalez, and William Gardner are all NOAA EPP MSI graduates. Melanie was supported at Delaware State University as an undergraduate, after which she moved to University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and was in NOAA EPP MSI Graduate Fellow. She's currently a CEO of Eco Alpha Environmental Engineering Services, and is also a member of Council of the American Geophysical Union. She was formerly Water Quality Specialist at NOAA. Lonnie Gonzalez finished from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and he is at present Division Chief of the NOAA National Ocean Service NCOS. William Gardner works as an environmental research scientist at EPA, and he's also an adjunct professor at Trinity Washington University. Nikki Treloar Knowles is a marine biologist and associate professor at the University of Miami. She earned her doctorate from Boston University in biology, and she founded the Black Women in Ecology, Evolution, and Marine Science. Janet Davis and Kathleen Gillespie were both NOAA EPP MSI graduates. Janet is a marine microbiologist. She finished from University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science, was formerly policy analyst at NOAA, but now is an assistant professor at Hampton University. Kathleen Gillespie also finished from University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science at IMET, and is an assistant professor at Baltimore Community College. Both Dominic Lazare and Kalesa Carlwood graduated from the University of Miami and were supported by the NOAA EPP MSI Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center. Dominic now works as a fish biologist at the NOAA Southeast Regional Office, and Kalesa Carlwood works as a marine scientist and educator at Perry Institute for Marine Science. Levi Lewis is a biological oceanographer. He received his doctoral degree in 2016 from University of California, San Diego, Scripps Institute of Oceanography, and now works as a research scientist at the University of California, Davis, where he's looking at species interactions and ecological processes in coral reef ecosystems. Adrian George, Chantel Davis, and Eric Evans are all NOAA EPP MSI graduates. Adrian George was supported as a bachelor student before she moved to University of South Florida for her doctoral degree in biological oceanography. She's now an associate teaching professor in environmental studies at the University of Tampa. Chantel Davis, I think, is the only African-American fish population geneticist that I'm aware of. She finished from Oregon State University in 2017 and now currently works at the natural resources as a natural resources management specialist at NOAA Fisheries. And Eric Evans graduated from University of Maryland Eastern Shore and is on the faculty of Jackson State University. Here we have Shadesha Green, Camille Genus, Tierra Moore, all NOAA EPP MSI graduates. Shadesha is a shellfish biologist. She finished from University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science in the Marine Estuarine and Environmental Science program And now she works as a grants management specialist in the NOAA Office of Education. Camille Genus was supported by the Living Marine Resources Center at Hampton University as an undergraduate student. After she graduated, she moved to University of California, Los Angeles, and earned her doctoral degree in ecology and evolutionary biology. Similarly, Tierra Moore was supported at Hampton University, but as a master's student. After she finished, she also moved to University of California, Los Angeles, to earn her doctoral degree. Both of them now work for Black in Marine Science organization, which they founded. Reed Nelson is a fisheries ecologist. He completed his doctoral degree from University of South Alabama, and he's an assistant professor in fish ecology at George Mason University, and I met him a few years ago. Amar Hanif, Latrice Denson, both are NOAA EPP MSI graduates. Amar currently works for Maryland Department of Natural Resources as a natural resources biologist, and he was formerly an environmental scientist at NOAA, NOS, and COS. And Latrice Denson earned her doctoral degree from University of Miami in 2021 after completing a master's degree at Oregon State University. She's now a stock assessment analyst at NOAA Southeast Fisheries Science Center. Chelsea Richardson is an environmental chemist. She finished from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore in the MEAS program, and she is now a research associate at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. And so the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center is the most important contributor to the increase in the number of African American PhDs in the NOAA workforce. 26% of PhD degrees awarded to Blacks and African Americans in marine science between 2003 to 2019, they came from NOAA Living Marine Resources Center institutions. And 35% of PhD degrees awarded to Blacks and African Americans in marine science during the same period, it came from the NOAA Cooperative Science Center institutions, particularly NOAA Living Marine Resources Center and NOAA Center for Marine Ecosystems at Florida A&M University. So if you look at the institutions from which African Americans earn their degrees, PhD degrees in aquatic sciences, we see that most of these recipients, degree recipients, earn their degrees from Maryland institutions, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science and College Park, followed by University of Miami Erasmus, and the University of Washington. And there are several other institutions from which African Americans have earned their PhDs. And these ones with asterisks indicate that the students, at least one student who earned a doctoral degree from that institution, graduated from the one of the Living Marine Resources Center institutions. And in this case, where you have two, those two received their bachelor's or master's degrees from the Living Marine Resources Center institution, particularly Hampton University, before they moved to that institution for their doctoral degrees. And if you look at the states from which these individuals earn their doctoral degrees, most of them earn their doctoral degrees from Maryland institutions, Florida, California, and then Washington. So although much of my talk has focused on African American PhD recipients from various institutions, particularly from the NOAA Living Marine Resources Center. The Living Marine Resources Center has recruited and trained a diverse pool of students over the past 21 years it has been in existence. It has trained more than 1,000 students and graduated more than 600 students, bachelor's, master's, and PhDs. And about 77% of the graduates from the center belong to underrepresented minority groups. And 12 students from the Living Marine Resources Center have earned NOAA CNAS fellowships since 2011, and 67 graduate students have participated in internship opportunities at NOAA laboratories. The Living Marine Resources Center is also having impacts on PhD programs at other institutions, as I mentioned previously. And this slide shows examples of students who graduated from the Living Marine Resources Center institutions who are now enrolled in PhD programs at non-center institutions. Ileana Finwick earned her bachelor's degree from Hampton University, supported by the NOAA EPP MSI Living Marine Resources Center, and she's now, I think, in her second or third year PhD program at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And Tima Barry is now in their first year as a PhD student at Rutgers University. Tima finished from University of Maryland Eastern Shore with his bachelor's degree. And Arona Bender and Joseph McLean, they are two students who completed their master's degrees from Hampton University, supported by the Living Marine Resources Center, and they are now enrolled at Duke University in their PhD program. So when you look over the years, some of the programs that have focused on mentoring and training underrepresented minorities, starting from late 80s, when ASLOMP was founded by Ben Suka, the ASLO Minority Program. That was followed by the MIMSOC, Marine Science Program at Western Washington University that Brian Bingham ran. And in 1994, Matt Gilligan established the Bridge Program in Marine Science between Savannah State University and Harvard Branch Oceanographic Institution. In 1996, we have the Ecological Society of America SEEDS program. And in 2001, NOAA, particularly the Northeast Fisheries Science Center, collaborated with Jackson State University and ran the Fish Stock Assessment Program. This program was also funded by NOAA EPP MSI program. We also have the MS PhD program in 2003 that Ashanti Johnson ran, and then the University of Southern Florida Bridge to Doctoral program. Then we have the Society of Wetland Societies Multicultural Mentoring Program. In 2009, we established University of Maryland Eastern Shore Research Experience for undergraduates in marine and estuarine site. This site is funded by the National Science Foundation and was established because of the capacity that was built at UMES using NOAA EPP MSI funding. In 2009, the Woods Hole Consortium also established the Woods Hole Partnership Education Program for mentoring students. And most recently, we have the Inclusive NOAA Fisheries Internship Program that was established in 2021. So the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center differs from these other programs in many ways. So the LMRCSC is a unique program in the sense that it is multi-institutional, a collaboration between historically Black institutions and traditionally white institutions. We provide food funding to our students. Also, we provide mentoring and professional development activities. And of course, we also have dedicated mentors of students, all of which have contributed to the significant impact the center has had in recruiting, mentoring, and graduating students. To conclude, the NOAA Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center has made substantial contribution to the increase in the number of African American PhDs in the NOAA workforce. It is very important that the center be sustained so that it can continue to recruit and train students in the NOAA science disciplines. I would like to thank the NOAA Educational Partnership Program with minority serving institutions for supporting the Cooperative Science Center, the Living Marine Resources Cooperative Science Center. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much for your presentation today, Dr. Chigbu. Audience, we will have a lot of time for questions and we welcome them. So if you would like to ask Dr. Chigbu a question, please type it in the questions chat box and I'll read it to our speaker. And also, I just want to encourage you to share this presentation with anyone who could not join us today. I'm about to send the link to our YouTube channel, and where in a few hours I will upload the recording of this webinar. So I will take a moment to wait while see if any questions come in. Dr. Trotman, did you have any last comments?
Thank you for this presentation, Dr. Chigbu. What would you pinpoint as the 3 significant drivers where NOAA's activities supported the increase in African Americans succeeding in aquatic sciences?
Well, there are a number of factors that have contributed to that. I think one of the major factors is the funding that is provided to the center. That's one. 2, we have the dedicated group of mentors who recruit, mentor, and guide the students and make sure that they are prepared, significantly prepared for the workforce in the NOAA related disciplines. The other thing that has made significant difference is the mentoring that is provided to the students. We have several professional development activities. We have the Fellows Assembly that we conduct every year that brings the students together, helps them build connections to form a cohort, and that helps them to prevent them from being isolated at their institutions, especially at minority serving at the predominantly white institutions, where there are relatively few of them in graduate programs. And during the Fellows Assembly, we also introduce them to different research thematic areas of the center. Another factor that has contributed is the fact that we work collaboratively with NOAA scientists to mentor and train their students. So there are several factors that are involved.
Thank you for that, answering that question. We did get a question from the audience, which says, thank you for this wonderful presentation. What do you think are the most important steps NOAA needs to take to expand participation of URM in aquatic sciences?
The steps that NOAA needs to take. Well, as I mentioned before, sustain funding to ensure that programs such as the Liverpool Marine Resources Center continue to recruit and train students is a major thing that needs to be done to ensure that the centers continue to meet the goals for which they were established. That's one. Providing additional funding is important. Creating opportunities for the students as they graduate from the center to gain employment at NOAA is also important.
Thank you. Another question just came in, and it asks, do aquatic science degrees include physical oceanography? Is there a NOAA CSC that focuses on physical oceanography or climate system science?
Much of my review is focused on aquatic sciences in general. And in that category, it includes freshwater, estuarine systems, marine systems. So it would include students earning their degrees in oceanography, marine biology, biological oceanography, chemical oceanography, and also physical oceanography. There is a NOAA EPP MSI Center in remote sensing, science and technology, the one at the City College of City University of New York.
Excellent, thank you. Another question, what activities would you suggest to gain interest for K through 12 students in the aquatic sciences?
Can you repeat that? What activities?
Oh, sure. What activities would you suggest to gain interest of K through 12 students in the aquatic sciences?
It is to expose them to the area. We have K through 12 activities at our center at Savannah State University. We have Coast Camp that Dr. Dion Hoskins runs, collaboratively with Dr. Victoria Young, and so they expose the students to marine science, and that helps to helps them to generate interest in the field.
Absolutely, I agree. This next question asks, what are the best ways to connect with the people you highlight in your presentation?
The individuals I highlighted in my presentation, what are the best ways to connect them?
Connect with them, yes.
Connect with them. At least those of them that work at NOAA, their information is available online. They can be reached by email or by phone.